Yes. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We'll call this meeting of the Civil Service Commission to order. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the October 19th meeting. Motion, is there a second? Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, motion is carried. We'll move on to new business. First item on the agenda is a police officer job description amendment be presented by Keith the Custody and Chuck Woody. So I'll turn it over to you, Chief.
The short version is we'd like to take out the 60 credits that are currently in our recruiting efforts are very difficult as is around the country, not just in the state. Our numbers, we used to have hundreds of people take the test, the last time 45.
46 signed up, 46
most of the people on the job we try to figure out what we can do to say answer, but we have at least 60 credits because we think it's actually up there. We think in 14.
What is it? Like it's only a 2-year degree, right?
You don't even have to have a degree, you have to have 60
credits. Yeah,
2014.
Well, around we tried to figure that out. So you know, it's 16 that came up and we tried to remove it then.
Right. We did talk about. Yes, we did talk about this. And we even suggested that we have kids, you go talk to the kids at the schools and have, yes, we did try to do something. We talked about it before.
There's a lot of other issues coming in now, but you know, we crossed the run so long the days of 300-400, but now we have 46.
So the other departments, do they have any kind of besides high school, like Sarah?
Most don't. As a matter of fact, Chuck, I tell you, we ran into some problems as what's the state is, I think, screwed up. Lateral transfers. We had a girl just recently from Syracuse, had a bachelor's degree under New York State Civil Law. Civil Service Law, we couldn't take her. She exceeds our standards.
Why couldn't you take it?
Because the announcement's got to be identical, correct?
There's a provision under your civil service rules and charter, as well as New York State's, that the qualifications for the position at the time of hire have to be identical between the two departments or substantially greater, since many of the departments have a no college degree, just a GED or high school diploma or equivalency requirement. We have not been able to take laterals, and I can attest that I think our department has seen potentially 3 interested candidates over the course of the last 6 years who were not able to continue with pursuing laterals.
But if this one had a bachelor's, which that exceeds our requirement, doesn't it?
The department she was coming from did not require a bachelor's at the time of hire, right? They only required a high school diploma. Right. So it doesn't matter what the candidate's qualifications are. It has to do with what the qualifications for appointment are from the municipality from which they are coming.
Okay, so because they have only a high school,
correct?
So even though she had a bachelor's,
correct.
That's
crazy. So
she went to
we Chuck said at least 3 this year.
I've had one probably wouldn't have, he was from New Jersey, but the 3 other ones were in New York probably in the last 4 months, including her, and all of them had more than our minimum required, but all of their departments, unit for Syracuse, didn't have a educational requirement in their entry exam, so they kind of put it right on the box.
So when this was implemented, what was a train of thought at that time, just to try to broaden?
Well, actually, I do research, and there was some studies saying that people with 60 credits might make better decisions. How to data, and so it was after some research that I did way back whenever it was 13, 14. That it was a better idea to have candidates.
Did this originate with the department?
I asked for that.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So, well, I agree with you, to be honest with you. I think that I agree with everything. I think that the F60 hours, especially with police officers, just a broader range of understanding, interaction, communication is all positive.
But I don't disagree. It's just a higher as it is.
What the problem is that we're at a disadvantage for hiring. Well, the only thing I would say, obviously,
you want to take out all of these though?
After you take out one,
they all come out.
Okay, because that was like kind of A or B or C or D. So if you didn't have 60 hours, but you had 2 hours in the military, 2 years in the military, you kind of have the same objective. You have that broader. Well, I agree. I mean, I thought that I would agree with what the intent of that was. I understand the dynamic now is you have to staff the department, and that's obviously critical. The only thing I would say, Joe, is if you can go back, maybe. I mean, I would approve this now because I need it, but if you can kind of come up with a plan that maybe is reduced on this, that after they're in, that you're gonna maybe they have to do some.
Well, you know, we've talked about that. We have, you know, cultural obviously training in the budget now.
Yeah, there's stuff in the budget, I think.
And the rest would be contractual. And quite frankly, recently, the mayor asked the union went through top 3 or 4 things was, and the education or the incentive was not. But when the negotiations come up, we're going to ask if they're interested. You know, we negotiate.
Well, this is more like, well, this is really more for new hires too. I mean, but I mean, everybody can take advantage of it if they want. But I mean, you know, obviously people on the job already have kind of the experience.
Most of them had 60. It's not in
so
long, most of them had 60.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a way just to put a plan in place where maybe after they've been trained, because that's a full-time thing to go through training, maybe they take the city sponsors in the course, or they take a course, courses on the topics you just talked about. Just to broaden them, obviously, because you're coming right out of high school, I just think you need something.
And they get that in the academy. You know, we have the largest academy in the state, the Boone County Academy, but plus we have money in the budget when we get the appropriate people to do it. But certainly we'll work on fire. You know, our dad's truck with the.
No, maybe some range of courses, but more not just the technical stuff, like things you were talking about, intercommunication skills, community relations.
We do that every year. We have instruments every year, and we bring people from the outside and our own instructors.
Okay. Yeah.
How long do they train for? When they come out of the academy?
They've been there 6 months, and then that's a lot. That's way more than what the state requires. The state has certain requirements for certain things, so on for fire, and so on for this, so on for that. So ours is the longest in the state.
Right. No, I mean this was I think this was
it was my idea, so now I'm asking if they
can. But well, I mean, with I think so. Yeah, I didn't realize it was your idea, so I don't have to sell you on it.
No.
So the idea then is if we can do something that's on a smaller scale once they come on board, just to keep them engaged in learning, whatever that means. It's 1 course a year or a couple, some in service and another course where the city pays for it. I think the mayor's open to paying for courses, whatever. So
the commissioner has in the past, and I don't mean to interject, if it's something that you want a report about in 1 year's time, kind of what the status is on potentially a continuing education, you can do that.
Yeah, we can just take, maybe in 6 months, come back with just kind of an idea what you might recommend, what you're already doing. Might say we have in service for these guys and we're going to offer these courses and whatever the plan might be, we can just see where some of the ideas you come up with.
Sure.
But the thing is, we don't have to sell you on this because this is your concept, which I agree with wholeheartedly. So, is there any other questions for?
So some additional education after they're hired,
right,
is what we want to see.
Right, just
something
for their own stage.
Exactly.
You come right out of high school, I think.
You're not. You're not.
Yeah. Okay, any other thoughts you had on this?
No, we'll work on that. As I said, we do a lot of stuff now, but there's always
they may be geared to the new, something extra geared to the new hirees.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions? Is there a motion? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
I want that extra stuff.
Okay, yeah, we'll send them out.
Yeah, I want that extra stuff.
That'll be
The boss is
as
here.
part of them.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's in there. It's in. It's here. I agree with that. What was it?
They're turning it through.
Well, at least.
Yeah.
It's for the land. I thought this was implemented by the mayor's, but it was decided, I agree with all others.
Yeah, no,
I thought we had.
no.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is this a new position for the Binghamton City School District? This is a custodial supervisor.
Hi, I'm Eric Wilson.
Okay.
And this is John Brown.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, our situation, I mean, we have 10 buildings. Obviously, the high school has 3 shifts of custodians. The other buildings have 2 shifts of custodians. And honestly, with the job market the way it is, a turnover is huge. And we're trying to keep some consistency district-wide in terms of training and supervision. We're struggling to not only fill the jobs, but fill them with people who are committed to do it. So we need a level of supervision on that we haven't necessarily needed in the past. So things like attendance, making sure the jobs are getting done, making sure people are staying in the full shifts. All those things are what we really need, and our current administrative structure can't handle that level of supervision.
How many buildings are there on the school district?
Well, there's 10 school buildings and 2. We have
So 10 buildings at least. It's
12 buildings.
10 buildings with
Students.
students active, then we have 3 other buildings.
at least, they have at least 10 buildings where there's custodial action all the time.
11 all the time.
All the time. How many supervisors do you have right now?
We don't have a district-wide
Is that
supervisor.
what this person would be? A district-wide supervisor,
Yes.
kind of overseeing the whole operation?
So we don't have anybody, for instance, that's available in the second and third shift to go see what's happening. I mean, we have a hierarchy among the custodians. We have custodial work with custodian, head custodian. We can't fill those positions. So we've got people in entry level positions sometimes that are on shifts alone in the buildings. And we don't know what's going on. So the idea behind this is somebody that's going to keep track of them, keep track of their hours, make sure they all have uniform training. So cleaning in one building is the same as it does in another building. And it's just a consistency that we want to have.
Obviously, the school district's budgeting for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like, especially with, like you're saying, when we have the range of buildings you have, some buildings have 3 shifts. Like
The high schools.
like that's 24/7 or something, all the time, it's a big building. But, so, okay, I would say makes sense.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion is carried.
Yeah.
Luck with that.
Yeah.
And so the next one on the agenda is also within the city school district. Director of Facilities 3.
So we currently have a director of facilities 2 that we would be abolished. So we'd be losing position going to the director of facilities 3. We are looking to attract someone who has comparable or some experience in facilities management that can deal both with the custodian end of things, not the direct supervision, that's going to be on the custodial supervisor, but having overall responsibility for the custodial end as well as maintenance. We currently have a $53 million capital project going on that requires a certain level of sophistication from that employee being hands-on in terms of marshaling, not necessarily the construction. We have a construction manager that does that, but marshaling and coordination with buildings. So if there's going to be asbestos abatement in the building, you know, they're coordinating with the building principal to make sure that the building hasn't occupied during that period of time, that the proper notices are going out. They're working with the construction manager to make sure that any, you know, particularly noisy or malodorous construction occurs when building isn't occupied with kids, isn't going to interrupt instructional periods, that type.
So this is facilities, director of facilities 3. And you're saying it's gonna replace director of facilities 2?
Yes.
Because of a change in responsibility.
They're gonna be
broadening of responsibility.
greater administrative responsibilities, more control over the maintenance and custodial budgets. As well as that level of coordination with administrators in the district.
Right, any additional questions at this point? So facilities 2 is being eliminated?
It will be abolished.
When would this start?
It's a good question.
When they get my salary.
When we find a right person, because it's a statewide list.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna have to canvass the list. There is a test being administered in January.
So Jamie just said, is it will be in January?
Yeah, January 28th.
So I don't know how long it'll be before we get a certified list after that, but we may, if we find the right person, then
So it's a tested position?
provisional, yes.
So when you mean statewide, so test is being offered around the state on the same date? Is that how it works for the,
Yep, it's around New York State, and then
we would offer it here,
they actually have to sign up on the state website
right?
if they're gonna.
Oh, they might determine what sites that, they might determine that draw all the tests all in Syracuse, just something like that, possibly, depending on where the people, okay. Right, promotion, second. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Appreciate your time.
No problem.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you.
We don't get away from the other day.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is, this is a new position, water sewer systems maintenance helper. By Jeff.
Members of the board, thank you all very much for hearing me today. This is multifaceted in what we're trying to attempt, so what I'm trying to attempt. A little bit of modernization, a little bit more specific on what the duties of this position will be. This position will replace the title laborer in water and sewer departments. So what these guys do are truly equivalent to the next step in promotion that they would take, which would be full water sewer systems maintainer. Everything that they should be doing is focused on attaining that position within X amount of years, available slots and training. Calling them a laborer doesn't quite cut it. The mayor had an initiative, he's trying to move some of the lower positions upward. We've just finished contract negotiations. This is one of the things that we went with. This falls in line with the CDL requirements, and it falls in line with other positions of equal merit within the city.
So this is this is replacing a laborer position?
Correct.
Okay.
You're just changing the name,
Yes,
basically.
and focusing exactly what we expect of each of these people.
So all laborers now will be called
Helper, maintenance helper.
water.
I have 4 positions in water and 4 positions in sewer.
They're all laborers.
I'll still have laborers,
Well,
but they're not doing the same work. Those
Okay, so
laborers I'm gonna keep to cleaning.
Okay,
lawnmower.
we're moving some laborers up to another higher level of responsibility. And, okay. So it's kind of a differentiation of your workforce, yes, basically. Well, that makes sense. I mean, obviously, I think over the water sewer plant, I mean, just, that's a constant evolution there, and trying to bring people in that can meet the evolving needs there is obviously a good thing. Any other questions?
But so you're doing this so they can climb the ladder too?
Yeah, people, yeah, they're all, yeah.
I'll make a motion.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you. All right, good luck. Next we have the establishment of the general equipment mechanic eligible list.
Yes.
Oh, that was just the list. We did get the results back, so that general equipment mechanic was put us there. Almost like 3 individuals.
So you have we have three on there, so you have a good list.
Yep.
You have to put them 3. Fine.
Got
it. Okay, very good. Okay, and then next we have a request for a 3rd provisional appointment for general equipment mechanic. Dan, who's going to bring that?
Yes, yeah. How you doing? Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Les is a good employee. He shows up every day, does all the overtime for us through the winter months when we need him the most. He's failed the 2nd time. He's came to me and I'm asking you to give one more shot. It's a tough position to fill right now. We've had, applications out there and just nobody's filling it out, and it's a tough position to fill. It's a skilled position. They bring in their own tools. And like I said, we're going into the winter months now where we could really use them the most.
So this list is the list he didn't have to tell.
All those guys are already on the job, correct?
These 3 are on the list.
The 3 on the list are on the job. They all passed.
And this guy did not.
We did not pass.
So how many positions you have?
5.
All 5. So we guys are all on the job already.
So he'd be 4.
Right, and the other guy already passed also. He's the only one that did pass.
So he didn't pass.
Right, it's the 2nd time.
Right.
Failed.
So, so
Some
that,
people aren't good. That's
Yeah, I
the
know.
reality of it. Some people can't
So-
take a test.
so you-
Doesn't mean they're not good.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm sympathetic. I'm only concerned with precedent setting. I mean, if we do that, how we letting people.
We have the commission has precedence on 3rd provisional appointments. Beyond a 3rd provisional appointment, this commission and I think all of our agencies, we've never permitted those to go forward.
So say that again, please.
So our 3rd provisional appointment, there is a precedent. I think the most recent one was for a code enforcement inspector. And I believe that was actually in the last 3 years.
So you're saying we could go a 3rd, going a 3rd time is not out of bounds of reality.
It's happened, you can do this uncommonly, and it's also permitted by civil service law. I see no precedent.
Especially when he's already in the job.
Correct. I see no precedent for a 4th provisional, but a 3rd provisional can be done.
He's been a good employee for well over 3 years.
So he is. We would have to call him for another test at some point. Is that how it would work? No, all right. Yeah, my main concern, going for, I mean, I understand the whole dynamic here with this and going for a 3rd, if that's permitted by civil service, it's not unusual. He's already in the job. I can live with that. I think.
Yeah.
So. Okay, motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, hopefully he'll.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, gotta do it too. The questions. For the board. Poor guy.
All right.
I'm sure we'll pass.
All right, good luck.
Poor guy.
Well, there's no stud. I mean,
Let's give you now, maybe, no, I know.
Well, that's
Stressful. Yeah, it would be.
Okay, then next time on the agenda is a new position for the wastewater treatment plant confidential senior account clerk. I think it's a.
We did.
Okay,
Oh, boy.
all right.
You gotta get tired of coming down here.
I appreciate your time and your trying to get this straightened out. Just a little background. I started at the wastewater treatment plant back in June. So it's all new to me. And when I went in there and saw the way the operations were run, I saw ways to fix it. And one of them is to change this position because the account clerk typists have limited complexity in the description and a greater degree of supervision from me. So I'm asking that it be changed to the confidential senior account clerk, because the person in this position is gonna have to be able to work somewhat autonomously, and have a higher level of experience in the position. It also needs to be confidential because the current payroll person is leaving. She's going to retire in the next couple of years. There's having a payroll background, there's a lot of information to learn in that amount of time. So I want this person to be able to learn that information and also to work collaboratively. That's what I'm trying to accomplish by doing these things.
So you're changing the name, right?
Title.
We're changing the title.
Yeah, the account clerk typist position will no longer be. The
Okay.
one will replace that position.
Okay, and with added duties.
Yeah,
And a new person.
the person that, hopefully the person who's
Okay,
in
yeah,
right
yeah.
now will continue
Yeah, okay,
on. Yes.
So how is this different from what was presented to us
Yeah.
before?
It was a completely different title. We just got rid of it, yeah.
So what was that, what was the title of that
It was
position?
an administrative support
Okay,
position,
all right, so that was a completely new position.
completely.
So one of the things she did is she kept it in line. So like you would have a principal clerk or clerk one, right? So she kept an account clerk, this is a senior account clerk, so that's at least in line with that title. And it's been more typical of a change. And then the other thing she did is she did not include those kind of extra qualifications that we haven't seen to have no kind of precedent for, like the driver's license, and she wasn't removing tasks and assigning them to another civil service position. In that case was the confidential secretary. I think those are probably the four major kind of changes that you made. And she didn't adjust any, I should say, of the job description associated with senior account clerk. She used an existing title, just not one associated with the joint wastewater treatment plan. I think with few exceptions, right?
Yeah.
There were a couple of
I added the confidentiality.
So this is a new position.
The new title.
It's a new
It's
title.
a new title,
Plan.
the new title, and it's a new,
Merge up with the other one, right?
so is this, so in other words, is there somebody in that would be moving into this position that's there now?
Yes, she's the account clerk typist now.
So,
Her responsibilities will increase with this new position.
okay. So that was some of the responsibilities I presented before.
Right. Yes.
And. All right. What is her salary set for this position?
I have the salary range that I would like to see. I still have to have it approved by the board. I requested between $18.50 to $22.50 an hour. So it's a range of $38,480 to $46,000.
And what's the pay for the other title?
I believe it's $18.75 at the highest rate. She's topped out at.
So. There's other people, so she's gonna be doing, what duties are gonna be centralized under her, they're being done by other people? Is that what's going on?
Some of them.
But you wanna train the person,
I want-
to fall into the other person, that when they retire,
Move into the payroll position.
you know, she's retiring in a couple of years, the person will move into that in 2 years.
Under the same title.
Yeah,
I also found that department heads were doing, administrative duties that I, as a business manager, should be doing. So I want to be able to take those responsibilities off of their plate so they can focus on their departments and then move it, some of what I'm doing to the candidate. There's a lot of moving parts to make this happen.
and obviously from the commission's perspective, the job has to be posted for the required period of time. And the candidate with the qualifications, the qualifications, yeah. Fairly considered.
Yes.
So, is a person that moving into this position, is that the same person that was gonna be under the other previous title?
So they know the job kind of now, they're there.
Yes. She has experience and
So,
the addition.
I just don't know if this is like kind of,
Like a promotion, right?
well, I just don't know if it's like the same thing, just kind of repackaged.
What I can do.
Yeah, that's what I think it is, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing, just repackaged.
Then I need to understand what it is you're looking for so that I can make this happen. My priority is making sure that the plan is running as efficiently as possible. And in order to do that, I need to be able to give additional responsibilities to this candidate, and I need her to be able to learn payroll.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you, to be fair, why don't you like, I'm not trying to be facetious, but it might be helpful for us if you could do a kind of a little bit of a, you know, for lack of a diagram of just these positions and show us who's doing what under each position and what you want to move. Maybe I could, that might, yeah, you know, but just for this, you know, not for the whole plan, just for these positions that you're talking about. I mean, like the current position, who's doing what right now? And how many positions are you, how many, you're trying to consolidate under her or him, whoever takes his position, responsibilities from different positions, right? Is that what I'm sensing? A couple?
Yeah.
I mean, if you can just under your management umbrella, if you can show what positions are there now and who's doing what they're doing.
Okay.
And what you want to move to this position, and maybe we have a better understanding of what you're trying to achieve.
Okay.
So like, let's hold this over
Yeah.
until next month.
We'll hold it over to next month. And then
Sorry.
And I
Merry
think one of the
Christmas.
things that Billy expressed to us, which I think maybe you'd want to see in kind of that diagram, is that the prior title, the account clerk type, is very limited because it has this language in the job description is limited complexity of the work performed. And as a result, there's certain tasks that she can't really give to her or give to any candidate in that position because of that language. So maybe in kind of identifying the tasks that you're planning on moving, seeing how that's restricted by that language might be helpful to the commission.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, to get a sense of, I think, you know, what we're trying to do is you know, and I don't want to mean disparaging, but we're just trying to get a sense if there's a real need for the position. I think the previous one, we didn't think there was. This one is a little different. I think we were leaning a little bit more towards this one. I just think we just have a little bit of some reservation. So it's just trying to get us to have an understanding that there's a need for it. And I think as it was outlined, maybe just showing us what responsibilities this will fall under this position now, and where are they currently, and what and they'll go under this next, I guess, is because you're moving. It sounds like you're trying to consolidate different responsibilities under this title.
Yes. And I'm trying to create a collaborative work environment.
Yeah, so if you can show us where these responsibilities are under now,
Okay.
and then what they're gonna move under this title, and then we can just see, then we can discuss this in, I think, in greater detail.
Okay.
Yeah, that might be helpful.
Okay. So we'll put it on, what's that, the December meeting? We'll put it on the agenda for that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Parks Department.
Favorite for last.
All right, so the first one Pat has is new position for the Parks Department, Parks Crew Leader.
Yes, so kind of going off of what Jeff said earlier, working on internally restructuring our department a little bit. In the past, we've always just done parks. The last few years, has grown considerably to what we're doing. So all these positions in general, we've worked through the contract negotiations in union and come up with some titles that accurately reflect the work being done. So the first one, Parks Crew Leader. We're gonna split our maintenance department into 3 subsections: parks maintenance, property management, and urban forestry. The Parks Crew Leader would be working with the property maintenance team, about 150-ish city-owned properties that we know, and we do about 200 code violations, give or take a year, where we're mowing those boarding up properties. This person would take on a working role, but also some of the administrative side of handling the process when paperwork comes into code, instead of flagging it through our supervisors, myself, they would kind of handle that. They would come up with the crew run every day and where they're going, how they're doing it, sending it back, filled out correctly, which is a bit of a jump from just, here's a piece of paper, go mow this lawn this day. So that is this first position.
So this individual will kind of take responsibility for all that activity and kind of basically assign people to different places.
Yeah.
Will this person also actually do some of that work too?
Yeah, they'll be a working member of the team. So
okay, so
they won't be just sitting on the desk. They'll be out with the crew running.
They won't be standing there holding the shovel.
They-
They'll actually be using the shovel.
They'll be on a piece of equipment.
okay, so all right.
And all of these positions are, we're not adding anything new. It's going to be restructured within what we are.
So as an existing person will move into these positions. Yeah. Are these going to be tested positions? Or are they eventually, or are they?
Parks Crew Leader and the urban forester are both going to be tested at some point.
Okay. All right, and then your parks technician.
Parks technician is very similar to what Jeff did. Taking my laborers, I have 9 of them right now, and turning their title as a parks technician. It's just built to what they actually do, where the labor category is very general, very public works oriented. This is the same job description and title that the county uses for their entry level positions.
Yeah, I hate to interrupt you. Do you guys hear what we need to start on crew leader?
Oh yeah, do we?
Yeah, you were gonna come over.
Yeah.
Were you? I knew that. What are you gonna do?
Oh yeah, we'll do that. We'll
I'll make.
I don't think I missed it.
Don't do that. I thought he was clumpy.
no, I'm. Them all and go back and just vote on it. But figure that's fine. Let's do it that way. So on the crew leader, are there any other questions or discussion? Is there a motion for crew leader?
Yes.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
So this would be, so these are existing people, so we're not adding people, but we're adding there will be a change probably in salary. And then,
Actually, they'll stay in the labor grouping in the Teamsters contract. So if that goes up with the new contract, that will hopefully be approved. The Teamsters will approve it and be this way to go to council for all the year.
The parks crew leader is the higher salary.
Yes, the Parks Crew Leader is the higher salary.
Yeah.
all right.
That stays at that entry level, but it's just kind of what we actually do versus really very general outline. This will hopefully bring us in, those people with grounds experience. We go forward.
Right, so that motion is carried. So then on parks technician,
Sorry, I was just on parts.
oh, okay. So yeah, go back to that again.
So that's basically, we're rewriting the labor job description to be specific towards what we actually do. And it's the same title Berkeley uses for all their parks entry level positions, so I'm not totally reinventing the wheel.
So this would be, so this is like what you have now, laborers.
Yeah.
One would move into park technician or more than one?
I have, at the beginning of the year, I'll have 6 labor positions, everything shuffles like I want, and all of them. I don't know if we can just change their title retroactively.
So they would all become park technicians.
Yeah.
I see.
You're not having any, you're not retaining any laborers?
Or Jeff and Pat are doing something very similar,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, we're basically, we all sat through the contract together, realized it's very public works contract. And doesn't really cover water, sewer, or parks in detail. We'll try and correct that. Letting people know that they can actually.
So it was the titles, what you're trying to do is have a title more reflective of their action.
Yeah.
Right, is there any,
I'll make a motion.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And motion is carried. And then finally, the urban forester.
And that goes along with splitting into maintenance, property management for forestry. Right now, the number one complaint call we get year in, year out is trees. People want to trim this, and we do not have enough guys on that crew. So what we're going to do is by shuffling some internal people around, we'll go from 1 tree crew with 3 people to 2 tree crews, 6 people total. This urban forester commission would be kind of taking the lead, similar to the parks crew leader, with handling all of the paperwork and tree requests that come in, complaint requests, keeping us up to date with where they're going, what they're doing. It should allow us to be a lot more efficient. It will also probably really help us retain some very, very skilled tree guys that we have. Give them a path to, you know, a little bit better title, a little more responsibility, kind of introduction to, you know, supervisor type role. It'd be very useful on our end, I think, and city residents to not have to wait 6 months to 2 years to get your tree trimmed.
So all that,
Give it an emergency instead of getting out of it.
so all that'll be funneled through this person, all that kind of work.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What about like, like the planting, like the islands and stuff, who's that fall under? Is that under urban forester too?
Yeah, that would be urban forester. So we're about, give or take 10,000 trees between curbs and sidewalks of islands. Parks, not counting Ross Park and just kind of standalone trees that they take care of. We really got our eye big time in April when that late wet snowstorm came where we went about 5 days straight with every city guy, DOT, county parks, DC, and through it, authority all came down and helped us. That's kind of an eye opener of really gotta focus on this part of what we do.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Is there any additional questions on this position of the urban forester?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, good luck.
Who puts the trees like around the wires, is that Verizon or what?
So NICEAG has been doing some work right now. Light has subcontracted out to the company that's butchering stuff. Because they have, technically, I think it's 20 feet on top and 10 feet on the sides and bottom clearance that they're allowed to take without anything.
Awful.
Yeah.
If people start complaining.
And then,
Oh,
we get, it's we usually try to work with, NICEAG's really good about doing it with fall and visual impact is what.
Yes.
Basically told us.
Well, they did
Well, I
excellent.
think so. NICEAG took a beating, I think, when Matt Ryan was mayor, for like they were on Riverside Drive, they just butchered the trees.
Terrible.
And, but I think they responded to that. It's why people start calling and saying, you know, it's an environmental thing in a way, and we want to be environmentally friendly.
After like the first wave, not what I don't know. If you're gonna do like, go over the trees, you're gonna take more than a third of it down, you're gonna kill it anyway, so. Get the whole thing down now, then rather deal with it in a year or two.
Oh, and right the bed, right, they just, oh
Big.
my gosh.
They wiped
Some
out.
of the trees look like they had a big U in them.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. NICEAG used to do it like that too. And then they took it, they got a backlash and also they changed their approach.
Right, as we were hoping Greenlight would be latch on to. They've been a little bit receptive, but.
Do you have like a contact name in the?
Yeah. I will, you know.
Yeah, I would be glad to write a letter to them, just saying, you know, I'm reflecting my neighbor's point of view rather than you get 40 letters, I found you to send one, but we're not happy with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be glad to send one. All
Thank you.
right, all right, good luck.
Thank you.
You want to announce their number for the record?
I don't know that off the top of my
Tree line streets pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, they can, it's a matter of just time, they don't want to take the time to prune it, they just want to gut it because it's there. Do we have any new business?
No, just an announcement of the next meeting, which will be December 31st. Here in
December 31st.
December 21st. Here in the personnel office.
Let's say.
December 21st.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be here.
21st? We here the 21st?
My house.
Now we get to
Oh, we're
21st,
here.
yeah.
My house, yeah.
So then.
Oh, you're picking it. Oh, down in Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Murray took a beat. Yeah, that's went right over and stayed.
So you're.
We got out of the first one and this one got me.
So we were scheduling 2 meetings in May and we're not in March. Where we talked about that because I won't be here, Eileen and I won't be here. So we thought of not doing a meeting in March, but scheduling 2 in May.
So typically at the December meeting, we can circulate a proposed calendar for the 2023 year.
I wish I could just call in.
I will mention to city council again that we can pass something, although I think still vacation is sober, right? Still not out. So we can circulate a calendar for the next meeting and add that as an agenda item and no March meeting, 2 May meetings proposed. And then any other
I
conflict.
already have 2 meetings.
What, you gone the whole month of March?
Yeah. So you already have 2 meetings scheduled for July or August, we don't
have any scheduled right now.
but you have another month needs 2 meetings too though, right?
Yes, I think this year we did it in August.
We did do it in August.
Yeah.
Because it was.
Oh, we'll talk about it in December.
Look for a 5-week summer period where we know everybody's here. But we'll circulate it and then if you have revisions to
Okay,
that.
all right, sounds good.
Okay.
I figured that one, I make sure we remind you of because I know that was a definite one, but the March one.
Oh, yeah.
But I figured-
The whole month.
All right, any other business or announcements? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
No, favorite building?
Well,